All right, this video is going to talk about flow. Flow is the integration of your consciousness with experience, when everything becomes seamless and you are at one with what you are doing. This is a very pleasurable state. It's a very good state to be in. Everyone loves when they're in flow. And for flow to happen, there has to be consequence of failure, immediate feedback, and a very close relay with you and your environment. Which that can also kind of be looking like pattern recognition or insights that happen very rapidly. So flow kind of takes place when there's consequence of failure and immediate feedback with your environment. This makes flow intrinsically rewarding. You feel at ease, it's effortless, and your actions and awareness are merged, right? This is a very unique experience. And it's also pre-conscious. You can't be thinking about flow and be in flow, because then you're thinking about flow. You're not being at one with what you're doing. So accessing flow is quite difficult. That being said, there are some things that you can do to make it so you'll be more likely to get into the state of flow. So flow is most often accessed in this flow channel. A lot of what I'm describing here is the work of other people. So I will point you to some resources on flow in the latter portion of this video, because I think that it's very important to learn about it, and very beneficial to learn about it. So I will do that later. But the flow channel is described by Csikszentmihalyi, who is kind of like the father of flow. And it's this window where your challenge is just slightly exceeding your skills. And what this means pragmatically is that you can't be in flow when you're doing something that's insurmountably difficult for you, and you can't be in flow when you're doing something that's really, really boring and easy for you. So it's about balancing your difficulty to get in flow. And this is maybe self-limiting in that you might be like, oh, this is too hard for me. I'm not going to get in flow. Difficulty is a subjective experience in many, many ways. So like you can get in flow climbing on a V0 if you're a V10 climber, if you're really, really intentional about the way that you do it. That is, you can craft your experience of flow by focusing on a certain aspect of the movement. So for example, if I wanted to just get up the climb, I probably wouldn't get in flow. But if I wanted to really feel every minute detail from my toes to my chest to my nose and just pay attention to everything, that's probably going to put me right in the sweet spot. And this kind of brings me to speak on intentional climbing practices, and how they can really bring about some flow-induced learning. So previously I mentioned that flow is, like a hallmark of flow is this cascade of insights and this recognition of patterns, which is a lot of it is pre-conscious. Like a lot of your ability to recognize patterns is not something that you are aware of on a conscious level. So, for example, if you're doing an intentional climbing practice, you will be probably thinking of some ideas about like how you can change your movement to produce a different result. And while that is necessary and useful, the learning takes place by your implicit recognition of the patterns that are emerging from your like total, like the summation of all your experiences, your feedback from your body and your mechanoreceptors and your thoughts, and like everything coming together, being processed into patterns. That's where the learning takes place. So it's not necessarily super important. Like I wouldn't get attached to the idea of like, oh, I must be thinking and cognitively solving problems when I'm intentionally climbing. And like, or at least for the entire session. Like, part of the intentional climbing is cognitively solving problems and cognitively figuring it out. And part of it is really just like understanding it. Okay, I'm thinking about it. I'm getting into it. I'm gonna like start thinking about it less. I'm gonna just dumb that part of myself down and start to intrinsically feel it out. And use my intuition to figure out like how I can better understand this movement. Which is basically flow. That's basically tapping into flow. And this is just an introduction to the idea. I'm not giving you a full crash course on flow because I'm still learning myself. I've spent a lot of time practicing and trying to, understand it, because I think it's a really powerful tool, and I know that pretty much every time I've performed at my best, I've been completely in flow. Everything has felt effortless. I've been at ease and at one with my experience. So trying to increase my probability of falling into flow has been something I've been focused on a lot. One of the things that has helped me has been meditation. This has kind of like lowered my baseline level of what I find captivating and motivating. I can be very, very enamored by something quite simple and what some people might find mundane, because I've lowered my baseline level of stimulation. This is like a great tool for work as well. Like, you can stare at a wall, and then doing anything other than staring at a wall, for example, like writing a paper, is probably going to be more interesting. But yeah, this isn't to teach you how to go into flow. It's kind of to explain what it is and maybe push you to explore it for yourself. So there are a few resources that I'll link in the description. One is Csikszentmihalyi. This is kind of the godfather of flow. Then there's Ryan Doris and Stephen Kotler. Those are the kind of founders of the Flow Research Collective, which is this amazing project in cognitive science where they're just exploring the science of flow. And Ryan Doris has a really fantastic YouTube channel where he kind of breaks down a lot of concepts in flow, and I highly recommend you checking those guys out.